and Friday mornings. And we are certainly in the middle of the dog days of summer. You know, I asked the other day in one of my staff meetings why it's called the dog days of summer. And it turns out that is when the constellation Sirius, which if you were drinking the same thing the Greeks were drinking when they came up with these signs of the stars, they connected the dots and they saw a picture of a dog, Sirius, and very prominent during this time of year. And that's why it's called the dog days of summer. To me, what the dog days of summer means, it's very hot, it's very humid, and all of us can't wait to get inside in the air-conditioned air. But one of the things I wanted to mention before we get to our live line is that the dog days of summer also means something else going on in town, and that is the water quality of the Mahoning River. This year, we are experiencing the highest algae bloom in the Mahoning River in particular than we've seen in 9 years. So we are at sort of a 9-year event this year with very high algae bloom in the river, and that affects the quality of water that comes into our water treatment system. And as a result of that, this little fact sheet will be posted on Facebook later today. And the first thing people should know is that the water is safe. It meets EPA and health standards. In addition for that, the primary reason is the algae bloom in the Mahoning River. And because it's a natural occurrence, we don't know when it's going to end, but we're constantly adjusting things. And what that means is we're adjusting the way we treat the water. However, we've got to treat the water in a way that keeps you healthy. And so if we completely eliminate that odor that you don't like, you're going to be in a situation where the water isn't as healthy, believe it or not. So if you have any concerns, contact our water plant, 872-1808, 330-872-1808. But the fact of the matter is that the algae bloom is at the highest it's been in 9 years, and every water plant in America deals with this. Some of you may remember just a few years ago in Toledo, they actually stopped water treatment and people could only get bottled water because the algae bloom is so significant. And we are in what Nat King Cole called the lazy, hazy, crazy days of summer. And it's fairly typical this time of year to have this problem, but really, really severe in the Mahoning River this time of year. So bear with us. We want to keep you healthy, and that means putting up with some of the taste, discoloring, and odoriferous issues related to our water, but it's healthy and it meets all the EPA standards. Well, speaking of standards, we have a guy who is maintaining the very highest of standards here in our Newton Falls schools. That's because we have a brand spanking new interim superintendent of schools, and he's on our live line right now. Welcome to Newton Falls, Rocco Adducci. Good morning, Rocco. How are you?
Good morning, Mr. Lynch. Thank you for having me on your program this morning.
Well, it's great to have you.
Lazy days of summer.
Yeah, that's right. Well, listen, it hasn't been the lazy days of summer for you because yesterday on Facebook and on your the web page for the schools, you released the Newton Falls schools reopening plan. In the era of the pandemic, it was a pretty momentous event. So first of all, congratulations, because I know a lot of work went behind it. And just tell us generally, what can we expect this fall?
Well, I first of all want to give kudos to our administrative staff, okay? John Crowder, Lori Witt, and Rachel Rankin, Terry Armstrong, our new treasurer. They've helped tremendously. We hit the ground running in the beginning of July, and of course, we definitely wanted to open school in the very best way, and it's our main responsibility to keep our students and staff safe. So other than that, we are going to have, of course, on our website, okay, you could have all this information, And on August the 6th, we're going to have an open board meeting with social distancing at our auditorium at the high school. And we're going to roll all this out, and they can see it and hear it firsthand. We will be opening school for K to 5 students all day, every day, social distance. And in the high school, we'll have two, an A group and a B group. Of course, we will group our young kids that are siblings together. And Group A will go on Monday and Tuesday, every other Wednesday. On Thursday and Friday, we'll have Group B and also every other Wednesday. And our teachers are working for the last couple weeks, and I give them a lot of credit under these circumstances. They're a little nervous, but they love their kids, and they can't wait to get back into the classroom.
Yeah,
They're
Rocco, let me
quite a
get to
bit-
let me get to some of the basic questions. First of all,
Sure,
will
go ahead.
masks be required for students, and under what conditions?
Well, when they load the bus in the morning, okay, masks are required for obvious reasons, okay? They get on the bus, there's hand sanitizer. The first one on the bus goes into the back of the bus, and then they move forward as the route continues. And then when they get off the bus, of course, is the last one off would be the first, the last one on would be the first off and going back to the bus there. Then we have thermographic cameras in each entrance of our two buildings, and they will shoot the temperatures of 30 students a second. And when they come up red, of course, they'll go into a side room, and then they would have further examination. And if they are to the point where they have other symptoms, they will be sent home, and it's up to the parent if they want to get checked or not.
Sure.
Go ahead. Did you have another question?
Yeah, well, that's right. So will they be wearing masks in school?
No, they will be wearing masks until they sit in their seat, and their seats are 6 feet apart, both vertically and horizontally, and they may take their masks off. The teachers will be either having face guards or masks, whichever they prefer. They will have the cleanliness equipment around their desk, and we'll be ready to go. But no, the students, when they're sitting at their desk, do not have to wear a mask.
All right.
It's recommended, but they don't have to.
Okay, now let me talk a little bit about the issue of those families that want to have the alternative of virtual education. In other words, they're saying that I don't want my kids physically in school. If there are families like that, do they have an option?
Oh, absolutely. We had our teachers and administrators call every parent in the school district and ask those questions. And we have some that will be staying home. Now, our teachers are putting all the curriculum by week on the computer in Google Classroom. So the students at home are getting exactly the same information as the people that are in front of them. So Monday through Friday, all the work is due on Friday. The teachers, the first hour of the day, will have a remote learning session, and the students may call the teachers at that time or text them or send information on their email so they could communicate back and forth and get the education as good as possible. Of course, we would like everybody to come in, okay, but the second best option is the remote learning.
Sure. Well, let's talk about this orientation. In other words, you're going to have an open board meeting where parents that have any questions can really learn, in addition to going to your website and reading the wonderful materials you've prepared, can actually attend this meeting. That's August 6th at the high school auditorium. What time is that meeting?
6 p.m.
6 p.m. And this will really be a
And
chance.
for those,
Go ahead.
For those parents that can't make that date or feel that they'd rather not be in the public with other people, we are videotaping it, and it'll be online, videotaped the next day, online, on our website.
Outstanding. All right. Now, let's talk about our new intermediate superintendent. Who imagined that this role that you're playing, which is tough enough when you're an intermediate superintendent, filling in for our great friend Paul Woodard, and taking over for him, then you'd have the combined issue of dealing with the pandemic. I imagine it's really sort of a baptism of fire you've been going through, Rocco.
Well, I've been in education 45 years. I was 12 years as a superintendent both at Wethersfield and Niles. And my resume is online if everybody would like to take a peek at that. But when I was superintendent over Wethersfield, our band was in Toronto. And that's when the SARS epidemic broke out.
Yes, I remember.
I'm somewhat familiar with these pandemic situations. But in 45 years, this is all new to me. But thank God I have a background in education as much as I do, have great people around me, and we're moving forward as positive as we possibly could.
You know, Rocco Adducci, if ever there was an Italian name in the universe, yours is one. And it strikes me that you have a great sense of confidence in your voice. I just wonder if Rocco wasn't occasionally addressed as Rocky at sometimes. Is that true?
What? I'm sorry?
Have you ever been called Rocky?
Oh, absolutely,
Of course.
absolutely. And then, yes, and then when I go into the buildings and I see the little kids, they call me, instead of Mr. Adducci, maybe Mr. Guducci, Buducci, but I answer to all of them.
Yeah, well, you know, when Rocky Colavito was playing for the Cleveland Indians, there was a phrase all around town. The phrase was, "Don't knock the rock." And maybe that
Yes,
should be
I
the
get
battle
that,
cry
and
in Newton Falls. Uh-huh.
I remember Rocky Calavito, Rocco
Sure.
Calavito. Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, the picture shows that you're married to the lovely Dr. Deidre Adducci, and you really seem to be integrating yourself into the community. What are your general impressions about Newton Falls at this stage?
Well, I over the years, I had associations with Newton Falls, both with your superintendents and your principals. Andy Pike was a good friend of mine. I coached against him in football. What a wonderful professional he was. But I drove my wife through the town this past weekend, and it's such a unique town. I grew up in Youngstown, Ohio, in Briar Hill, okay? And this reminds me of that way back when things were a little slower, okay? And I really am going to enjoy that. The bridge, love the bridge, love the bridge.
Sure, sure. Well, we love the fact that you've brought such a spirit of enthusiasm and professionalism to Newton Falls. You took the bull by the horns and have set up this this reopening plan. I guess the only other question related to that, because we'll learn more on August 6th as well, is do you have a certain sense of tentativeness? Because when you and I were chatting yesterday, you mentioned the fact that you were forging ahead, had a very solid plan, but also were a little bit concerned that out of Columbus, they might throw another curveball at you by making some further changes. Is that a little bit of a concern to you, Rocco?
Yes, that is concern, and we have a plan to go full-time remote, but I hope the governor looks at the situation and allows us as a community. I see signs coming in here where if you have heart, you better wear a mask, okay? If we continue doing what we should in social distance, I'm really hopeful we could stay open. And I hope the governor sees that also, okay? Because the kids, especially K through 5, you can't teach reading online. It's so difficult. And our kids are just biting at the bit to see their teachers. The teachers can't wait to see their kids come in. And our teachers feel that their students are their children. And that's how they're going to be treated throughout the year.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think a lot of folks, as they look back their educational career, especially in elementary school, there's that sense of bonding with that special teacher who sort of took a student under their wing, so to speak, and made life in general a lot easier, looking up to someone as a role model. And you do lose some of that with the virtual aspect of education, don't you, Rocco?
Oh, no question about it. And if all the listeners just think back of their teachers over the years, they might not have liked some of the things and some of the items the teachers had them do, but they think of them very fondly. And a teacher looking back, okay, they might not remember all the names, but they loved their kids and they made such an impact on the majority of them. And they never know the impact that they made throughout the society because of their teaching skills.
Well, we're going to wrap up now, but I did want to ask a question which came across when we were scrolling through the reopen plan. But what is the target date for the reopening of schools these days, Rocco? What's your target date?
Well, we have, of course, the second, third, and fourth. We have some orientation with our students. This way they'll be taken through the entire day and eat lunch there. This way they'll know what to do and how to do it the first day of actual curriculum instruction, which would be on September the 8th. Now, we also have parent meetings from 6 o'clock to 7:30 where parents will be taught how to work on Google, okay? They will be instructed on the computer so they could help their kids at home and feel a little more comfortable. I know it's very stressful for the parents to do that, but they're looking over the situation and say, boy, the teachers, I give them a lot of credit. This is tough.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, is that a little bit later opening date than normal, September 8th?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I think we needed the time to do so, but I wanted to get that plan out to the community, both on social media and now on our website, into the newspaper, as many places as we possibly could get. So if parents would like to review it and ask questions, they have an opportunity to do so. My phone number is online, and also they may stop into the office or text me or go ahead and email me also.
Oh, that's great. And we certainly have had the website up so people can access all of that information at newton-falls.k12.oh.us. Well, Rocco, thank you so much. Welcome to Newton Falls, and know that you can contact City Hall. Give me a jingle, Rocco, and let us know how we can help you, because you certainly are at the center of helping our kids here in Newton Falls. Welcome again, Rocco, and thanks so much.
Thank you. Now, Dave, I'm going to ask for some help somewhere down the road. It takes a community to raise a kid.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you can count on us, Rocco, believe me. Thanks so much and have a great day.
You too, David. Thank you.
All
Bye.
right. Rocco Aducci. I just like saying that name. Now playing third base, Rocco Aducci. Outstanding gentleman who's coming to Newton Falls and injected a real sense of energy and can-do spirit right in the middle of the pandemic. Well, that's a shot in the arm of enthusiasm and positivity that we've always needed in Newton Falls. Well, folks, that brings us to the end of another one of our morning updates. Thanks to Jeff Hawkins and the guys in the water department fighting the battle against the algae bloom, and more importantly, thanks to Rocco Aducci for getting the Newton Falls on track during this pandemic. And as I say at the end of each one of these programs, God bless America and God bless the city of Newton Falls.